Welcome to Trubian Village. My name is Yemela Gomez. I am the first vice president of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, and with us today is Mattie Davis. She is the president of the High Desert Black Heritage Committee, an affiliate of the High Desert Community Foundation. Welcome, Mattie.
Thank you.
Could we start off first with you giving us a little bit of your background, where you're from? And I know you're a High Desert resident, so give us a little information about your background.
Okay. My background is Louisiana. I was born and raised in Louisiana. So a small town Ringo. And I'm married at a very young age. I think it was maybe like, you know how when you're young, you count, okay? So I was maybe like 4 to 5 months prior to my first 14th birthday.
Ooh, that was
so.
You were a baby.
So I got married. There was a lot of things going on in my life, and my father had passed away when I was about 10 years old, and so things was happening with young girls and things, and so I was the kind of person I would like thinker, and it was my mother was like different upset and stuff. So I said, okay, I think I'd be better off married, and at least put a little respect with this, thing. So, and then from there, I moved from getting married on my mother's porch. I moved to Barstow, California, and we drove cross country. And there with my husband, he was Santa Fe, and now we had 9 children. So out of that reunion, it's 6 girls, 3 boys.
Wow.
And so I've raised them and educated them, and along with that, myself. And I was able to go back to school, and I graduated from Barstow College. And from there, I got different, you work on different things. So you get different degrees. You can get in management, you can branch from your regular degree into different other areas. And so I took advantage of that. And then I started working at Barstow College, and I was able to work there in administration, working directly with admissions, and admitting young people and talking to them about their future and what they wanted to do and what they wanted to be. I loved it, and I was able to inspire and help different young people to go on their way and to make decisions. Some people will come in, they didn't quite know what they want to do. So as working with admissions, you are able to tell them, point out the different classes, and then help them to make a logical decision. And they could own that, they could change if they wanted to. They could have twice, they could change their major. So I worked with that for 29 years. So after that I thought, oh wow, so working with young people, working with people, and I loved it. And so it was part of my heart, my passion. And I always wanted to do it because Martin Luther King was a very inspirational to me. And I was pregnant and I had the kids, they were small. So I said, oh wow, what do I do with these kids? There's no cotton fields no more to put them to work or anything like that, so what I do? So Martin Luther King came along, and I'm watching him on television, and he said, education. Boom! Education. So I said, okay. So that's what I instilled in all 9 of my kids. And I made sure I went to all parents' conferences, and I did those things, because that was important to me for my children's sake, and for them to have a better life. So I did those things. So after that was done, and then I started working at Barstow College. So I just carried it over into my workforce.
I see. So you were a stay-at-home mom, basically, with your 9 kids.
Yes.
I see.
Yes, I was stay at home. Because in those days, it wasn't jobs out there for women. And the job that the women could get, you paid more in babysitting. And with 9 kids, 9 children, babysitting didn't come cheap. So when I looked at my payday, and then I had to take some of my husband's money and add to it to pay the babysitter, I said, okay, it's best for me to stay home. So that's what I did. I made the logical decision. The Bible says a time for everything.
That's true.
So I figured it's a time for me to stay home with my children. And that day will come. If it's meant to be, it will come. And so the day did come. And so I was able to go out, live my dream in the workforce, and really fulfilled. I felt very good about what I had done and the students that I had inspired. And they called me from all over the place.
Oh, that's wonderful.
They called me from New York, Jordan. They just different because we had international students as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are the things that I worked with before I retired. And so my story before my retirement is really long. So I'm going to try and shorten it a little bit because it's a lot to do with it. And so you can kind of get an idea of my passion and how I feel about things.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a particular reason for moving into the Victorville, Hesperia area when you left Barstow? Or are you still living in Barstow?
When I was still working, and so we was trying to make a change, and so I went in with my daughter and my son, and we built there in Hesperia. And the reason because the workforce was, the opportunities down below was better for my kids than Barstow. The Barstow didn't have much to offer in the workforce, and the fact that I had educated my children, and they had gone, I have 3 USC students, and they were highly educated, so therefore Barstow didn't have much to offer in their field. So I went in with them, so we built. That way, if they wanted to, they could commute back and forth. And so we built that in Hesperia, and that's why I relocated there. So I could drive to Barstow, because driving don't bother me. So I could drive, and they could commute there, the girl and the son that I built with.
Oh, wonderful. Well, tell me, how long have you been with the High Desert Black Heritage Committee? How long have you been with them?
About 4 years now. And so I joined them purely because of the fact that, in Barstow I know everyone. And here I didn't know anyone. So no one would knock on my door. I kept waiting, but they didn't. So I said, okay. So I need to go out and find, something to do. So I was with Carla Townsend. And then plus she was a counselor for my son. And she says, Mattie, why don't you join the High Desert Black Heritage? Well, I know Carla, and I said, okay, fine, this will be great, so I can hang out with Carla Townsend, because she's exciting and she knows a lot of people. And so I said, okay, I'll join at the High Desert Black Heritage, because I joined it was purely selfish. Because when I joined it so I could learn who everyone was. I didn't want to do nothing, I was satisfied. Just sitting back with my hand and folded, and that was it, because all my life I've worked. All my life, from the cotton fields up. And then I started at church, so I'm accustomed to working. So I just want to sit back and enjoy people. And so I said, okay, I get to know who everyone is and the whole thing. So I said, okay, I'll join. So it was selfish on my part. And so then when I joined the High Desert Black Heritage, for a couple of years, my wish was true. I went to the Black Chamber meeting, and I go to the other different organizations. They give me a ticket, and I buy that, and I go there, and I get to see different things there. And it was just a lot of things here that they had, and that from the High Desert Black Heritage, I was able to go to, other organizations and their meetings, and I got to meet all kind of people, whether it be whatever nationality. And I would go, even the Sika de Meyer and all that different stuff, and I would go. So that's the reason I joined, and that's how I came affiliated with it.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about the background of the High Desert Black Heritage Committee, when it was started, and who founded it, and about how many members are in there right now?
Okay, it was founded in 1983 by Reverend Nathaniel Ruffin, and when he had it then, my understanding was the meetings was at a local church. And so then it really was mainly some of the airmen were members and their wives and things like that. And they did at certain portions of the years, they had different activities. And one of them was they always had the essay and they would have other functions that they put on because they had the membership to do it.
Is that the Martin Luther King essay?
Yes, they would have that, and then plus they would have picnics and other things that was told throughout the year. And then as the membership dropped, then they dropped that back to the original, the MLK Day, Martin Luther King, which is in January, and it's held every third Monday at Victor Valley College at the Performing Arts Center there. And then we have the Juneteenth, and it's held at the Hooks Park. And this year it's the 18th. It's every third Saturday of each year.
Explain a little bit about Juneteenth for people who are watching that aren't really sure what Juneteenth is.
Okay, Juneteenth is about when the freedom of the slaves, because the word didn't get to them in time. And so by the time the major got there with the word, with them, it's like a year and a half later. And it happened on the 19th of June when they learned that they were free, because they didn't know they were free. And so it was done in Texas. It started in Texas. And when I was coming up in Louisiana, no blacks worked 19th of June. Whatever date it was on Monday. We would always quit, put it down, we go to the nearest lake, and we'd have fish fry, cookout, and all that stuff. So Juneteenth is really a celebration of our freedom from slavery. That's basically what Juneteenth is about. It's a celebration of freedom. And that meant that we was then allowed to be a part of the government, of whatever. Before then, we were slaves. And so if you're now no longer a slave, you can run for governor, you can be officer, you can do different things. You can, you're your own person. You're no longer owned by someone. And so we still celebrate that as a reminder of what we've come through, and the thing to the point of where we've come. And we want to move forward. But I was always raised, never forget where you came from. So if you never forget where you came from, then you can add to, and you become a better person and a better thing. And the reason I say this is because, think when the war was. We have a war. Okay, I just lost a step-grandson in Afghanistan.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes. And so he was blown up. And why did he die? He died for America, not for Victorville, not for his burial. He died for America. So we will have a way of life that we are accustomed to today. So this is what I think we all should think. Our black, our white, our Hispanic, our Indian, our Oriental people, they all fight for that way of life. And so that is one of the things that we should all remember. Absolutely. So with Juneteenth, that brings forth a soberness to me. And this is what I want other people to understand and see, that we are Americans. We all fight for the same thing, whether it be New York City or where.
That's true. That's very true.
So for a lot of us, we seem to want to forget. Never forget where you come from and the sacrifices that we make.
And that seems to be one of the problems with young people today. They don't seem to remember all the sacrifices their ancestors have gone through to get them where they are today.
Yes. Yes.
So tell me, what kind of activities are you going to have at the Juneteenth celebration this year?
Well, I'm looking forward to maybe coming out and just relax and enjoy. But I want the enjoyment to be among all people. Let's just enjoy. Let's remember together that this is a joyous time now, that we've sacrificed a lot for what we are, but we are all people. And I want to say, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, and what's that date again that you're going to have it this year?
June 18th.
June 18th this year.
From 10 till 6 at Hooks Park.
At Hooks
in
Park.
Victorville.
I know my organization usually participates in that. Delta Sigma Theta usually participates in that.
We'll be happy to have you this year, any year, because that is one of the things that we're working on, is getting that. And making a joyous occasion. Bring your quilts, bring your pillows, and if you want to take a nap, then get up and join the party again. I call it a party. So it's a party to me because I enjoy people. And I just get a high on people. And I look at people and we're all there and we're enjoying and just enjoying each other. And so that's what Juneteenth about. That is what I would like to see, and I would like to see more educational speeches this year. We're working on improving. You come a step, but you're taking another step. And so the next step that I want to go to is improving, maybe on educational speeches, and I'm going to have a lot of health facilities out there, people that can learn about different things about their bodies and diseases and all of that. That's all under the education of learning how to better take care of your health, so you can better enjoy life, your quality of life. You know, if you're sick, you can't enjoy if you're sick, but if you have, then you can enjoy your quality of life. So that is one of the things that I'm going to have out there. Plus, I want some educational speakers out there. And I'm here today. I want to ask you to be one of them.
Ooh. Ooh.
So we can have some things that young people, and it can be about the freeing of the slave, but it can also be about something that's, the cultural. It can be on Hispanic culture. It can be on black culture. It can be on white culture. Different cultures of different things, because it is a multicultural day.
Oh, that's
That
wonderful.
I wanted, and in the past we have had it that way. So it's worked. It's really fun, and everyone that has come to it, and they enjoy it. It's really nice. It's just laid back, nothing fancy about it. Kids can walk on the grass and drop stuff. You don't have to worry about a flow or anything like that, because it's outdoors and stuff. And then we have a stage going and different things going on that. So.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. I'm going to have to put my thinking cap on and come up with something creative then
Right.
for us to do.
I
That
love
sounds
that.
wonderful. Well, does the Black Heritage Committee have any other plans for any new programs or any new events that you have in the near future? Do you have anything planned?
Yes, I'm implementing right now is the boys today and then tomorrow. That's already in progress. And it's under the direction of Carla Thompson, and she's doing a great job with that. And Alfred Carsey, is C-O-R-S-E-Y, his last name. He and Carla is putting that on. And so I met the young people, and they are doing a great job with that program.
What are their ages?
The ages, they can be from like 6, they can, in school, they prefer the school age. And so up to high school or even college. If they're in college, young people, and that is the age limit that they have. Right now, I think the oldest one is about 19.
Okay.
And so, but I think they're picking them up, in their first 20 and things like that.
So is it a mentoring program? Is that what it is, a mentoring program?
It's a battalion.
Okay.
Like cotillion, it's a botillion.
Oh, really? A botillion? I hadn't heard of that before. That sounds wonderful.
Yes, I'm different, so that's
That's
what I like to do. I like difference.
So
Make
is
a
it
difference.
kind of like a cotillion for boys where you're teaching them etiquette and manners and how to respond and how to behave socially in
Yes.
different situations? Oh, that's
Yes.
wonderful. I would
Open the
think
door
most
for a
parents would want to do
lady,
that.
first. If you see someone need assistance, whether they're a gentleman or not, give them assistance and things of that sort. So it's working. It just takes my breath away to watch them in action. They was at my Martin Luther King, and they were in action. I saw them, and it was just off the wall. It was really great.
Well, how would someone, if someone had a son or a young man in their life that they wanted to join this, how could they do that? How would they be able to do it?
They could contact me, and I could get them in touch with Carla.
Okay.
And so that way, if they want to, there's a Black Heritage Committee, and they contact me, and that way then I can get them in contact with that program.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
That sounds like an excellent program.
Yes.
We definitely need something like that today.
Yes.
That is.
And so we're trying to work with, I want to implement some other programs. Say, for instance, like we have a lot of young people, their self-esteem is very low.
Yes.
And I'm working toward implementing that. I really want to implement that program with low self-esteem, whether it be a boy or a girl, and let them know that they're needed, greatly needed, and we want the young people. That's what we want. And so then if I can get that program started, but we, of course, I'm gonna need the people to head it, and then of course there's always money involved.
Of course.
So, but if I get one program started, nothing says I can't get 2, 3, 4. And so those are the things that that I'm working on now, and that's in my mind now. And we're under a reorganization that I think I can implement that. Once we get our reorganization plans in force, then I'm gonna work on implementing that program also, along with other ideas. I just mentioned that one right now, but I have a lot of ideas. I'm a dreamer.
Well, are you open to collaborating with other organizations up here in the high desert to try to implement these programs?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful.
Very open. Open arms, very open. Come on down. Yes.
Have you been collaborating with any other organizations? I know you're in the NAACP. Have you done any programs along with the NAACP and Black Heritage Committee?
We separate from, we had the breakfast and we brought the youth in. And we come up with the idea we want to, again, youth. And so we had the breakfast went over really big. We had the youth breakfast and youth speakers, and that's what we did. We just done, this year was the first year. So we're in the process right now of organizing the youth part of the NAACP. And we're getting the officers, they're gonna be voting soon on the officers and everything. So that's gonna be implemented. And they are gonna be doing a lot of things because they're young and they got the energy and they want to do it. And we have a crowd that's very motivated and they're very high-spirited about it. And so we're looking forward. We just had I come from a meeting this morning that we're getting all those different things. As adults, we're guiding them and letting them know different rules and regulations they have to come under and guidelines that they have to do. But once those things are set in place, then they can go forward with their ideas. And believe me, they have a lot of ideas that they want to implement. And they are young, they can do it. I write in their form and I tell them, you can do it, they can. And I have a lot of faith in them. And I'm a mentor of some, we have a mentor program that we just started with the NAACP. And the mayor of Atlanta, ex-mayor, Charlie Glasper. And he took on like 3 or 4, he's a guy. I limited mine to 1 right now. So I just have 1, so I'm working with him.
Well, that's wonderful. Does it seem like you're having a very positive response up here in the desert to all of the activities and the programs that you have planned? Are you getting a positive response?
Yes, very positive. We were happy about that because when you go, you don't know. You go out there. But when we implement people, wow, and they just gravitated toward it. They were really, and we sit back smiling like, great, okay, we're happy we came up with that. Sometimes you don't know, Like you bake a cake or something, you put it on the table, you don't know, or people eat it up, so, ooh, I think I cooked that one again. But it makes you feel good inside when you get that. And that's part of our reward. And people are like, what are you getting out of it? You're not getting paid, you're not getting any money, but they don't understand the feeling that we get from it.
That's true.
Yes, so we're getting very positive. We love it. We didn't know when we didn't know. We was just like, okay, but when we did it, yes.
Well, what about with the schools? Are you partnering with any schools, particularly for like February for Black History Month? Have you been partnering with any schools to bring them any additional information? Because that's one of the things that I have found. I don't find them really teaching a lot of Black history in schools lately. I don't know if it has to do with budgets or funding. I really have no idea. But give me your opinion on that. What do you think about that?
I think it's something that can be looked into because we've discussed it at our meeting. And so I have on my committee, which is on the NAACP also, some board members that's on the board of the local districts, school districts. And so those are some of the things that we have talked about, but we haven't implemented any of those ideas yet. And as we are working on membership drive, that we can get the people informed, that we can get more help, because we're finding out that you have these people that's holding 2 or 3 different positions as I am on different things, and others are doing. But we need more people to do more work. more workers, you can build bigger farms, as we say back on fuel. But yes, those ideas are in front of us, and some of the things we are aware that's going lacking, and we feel that's a bigger part of the problem with our youth today. And we want to take a more active role in trying to see to what degree that we allow, because that has to be looked into too. Because a lot of things, when you start going on the campuses and stuff, we will have to get with the administrators and work this out where it will be allowed that we can do this and look into it and implement it. So yes, those are some of the things we definitely want.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Speaking nationally, do you have any concerns or any feelings about the way the country is going nationally? Because there's been so much controversy that has been stirred since we have our first African American president. Have you seen any kind of trend happening nationally that you'd like to address?
Not in one capacity or anything, but the trend that's going now is, from my perspective, is at the root of everything is money. And people are so devastated, they're losing their homes, okay? When you have a lot of things in, like massive Confucius, okay, in your home. So it's hard to think in other areas because all you can think about is your own problems. And so a lot of Americans now are focused on our own problems because the president was handed this bucket of problems. And so to try to dig deep into that bucket and fix all those problems is kind of hard. And then when you get a deficit that the bottom has dropped out of the money bucket, this other bucket is full. But the money bucket is like the bottom is out and we're empty. So he has to come up with ideas to make money so I can stop this over here. And then you got all the natural disasters happening on top of all of that you are trying to deal with also. And with the national, you look at all that that flood and that earthquake, it devastated people, and then we're all going to their aid, which all the money that we're giving to other countries really could be used here. Because
that's true, for our infrastructure.
For our interest. And so, but my understanding is we have relations and we have to deal with those. No matter what problem I have here, I still, this is part of the way the system is set up, the government, that we have those, obligations also. So the president has to look at all those obligations. I wouldn't, and I'm as broke as you could say, but I wouldn't want his job for no money in the world. That, I see it sometime and I think, now how could that be better served? How could we better do? And all those people out there are sleeping out of their cars and their children, and you see it, and then it just brings tears to my eyes. I sat in my home and I literally cry over some of the things that's going on with Americans. And then you look at other countries and I'm like, am I supposed to feel for them? But there are people too.
Absolutely.
So under the circumstances, my hat's off to him. Because I truly think he's doing an enormous job. I don't know anyone else could come up and think. He's a thinker. He can think, really. I mean, he sits there, he's really a thinker. And so he's thinking for all people. He's trying to get it on a long term. So he's not the kind of like, quick fix.
Yes.
He doesn't like quick fixes. Like with the oil and all that. He wants a long-term fix. So this doesn't happen again. He wants to fix the roof so it'll last 100 years. Now we just get up there and fix it, and 10 years later we're back up there fixing it again. I love his ideas of long-term, but he's getting punished for those.
This is true.
Because they can't see it. He sees it, but the majority of people just want now. I want my Cadillac and Eldorado today. I don't want to wait 10 years.
It's true. And a lot of people have a me attitude, not a we attitude.
Yes. And so if we get back off and get not so used to our big elaborate spending habit, and I'm guilty of that also, and just kind of calm down a little bit, and I think, and give him an opportunity. He's doing a great job. But like I said again, the national system now in all the different countries, one of the more stronger countries, which is Japan, and they are devastated now with that tsunami and all that. And so, and then yes, we do have to go over them, we do have to help them, and we are, so there's other disasters that's going on all around. And so, yes, that is my opinion of that. I don't know the answer to it, but I do know I don't want it.
I agree. That job is way too large for me.
Yes.
This plate is always full.
Yeah. And I stand up when he's on, like, my hat's off. Wow. Anyone can figure this out. I'm like, I'm waiting to see. But I just have faith that they will come up with something. I really do, because I think they're doing an excellent job. So that's the reason I feel they are. But it's not going to happen overnight.
No, it's not. It took time for the problems to happen. It takes time to solve them.
Yes, it does.
Absolutely.
Yes, it does.
Well, what are your plans for the future for you? What do you see in the future for yourself?
The future for me is I like to serve, and that's my pleasure. And when I say serve, if the future for me is if I can do one thing for one person, if I can bring more better education to things. I'm always searching for an opportunity. As I work with a committee with the Sheriff's Department, and I'm searching for a spot. And whenever they open any door, to me, that's my future. And I get up every morning with something in mind. Like some people, they may go to bed with, I go to sleep with my mind bogged down. I fall asleep and I wake up thinking. And I have about 1 million ideas. And the next day, folks give me the opportunity to work on just whatever idea that put before me. And if something doesn't happen or the phone doesn't ring, then I take draws from that list. And then I go out searching for that day. And if time allow, then the next time I go to the next step. And I stop or I call or I do things. That is the future for me, is trying to make the world, the setting for which my area, my little portion, to make it better. And to better inform the public. I think if the more knowledge, the better you can for your life. Because if you don't not knowledge, you don't know where to go, so you sit in one spot. Because you're like, where do I go and what do I do? A lot of people don't have the motivation to get up and go out of their house or their space, to go into another space and ask questions. And I tell people, ask. Just ask. When I was at college, I said, ask. If you stand in that corner, I told a young man, I'm going to let you stand there all day, just to see how long you can stand. All you got to do is walk a couple of steps and ask me a question. That's all you have to do, but you have to apply yourself. Mm-hmm. So I would let him know. But he was going through some things that I sat and I watched him over in that corner. But I wanted to see what level would he take it. Mm-hmm. And so he didn't have. But what I told him, the things that I liked about that was he never did it again. Mm. He came on campus. He had a high spirit about things. If he had a question, I said, your question is just as important as the next person's question. I don't care whether it's the president, superintendent, or who. Mm-hmm. Or if it's the groundsman up or the president down. Mm-hmm. You have a right to come over and ask questions. You're a human being, and we want you and we need you. And we need you to learn these things. And we want you to learn. And those was one of the things that was my passion. It still is my passion. And to let young people, don't stay in that corner. Come out and ask. And if something is going on with you, tell someone. Tell someone. Don't just keep it to yourself. You say, I don't want nobody to know this is going on with me. I'm embarrassed by what's happening to me. No, get over that. This is my passion. I want people to know that if this person I said, if you go up there, you got a right to make the appointment with the president of the county. They said, oh, no. I said, yes, you do. I said, he may say, come back next week. Ask him what time next week. Have the secretary put it on the book. Next week, be there. Don't be late. Be there. Mm-hmm. And I said, then whatever you have to say to him, say it. You have a right to be heard. Whether or not he does anything about it is on his shoulder. But you have spoken and you have made yourself heard and be known. But if you don't let them know what's going on, they don't know. But you have to let them know it's a snake out there on campus. Mm-hmm. They need to know those things. Mm-hmm. So whatever, I want to let young people know, step up and be heard. Whether it's someone bullying you, someone raping you, someone molesting you, you're in an environment that's very cruel, let it be known. Don't just sit and take it. Mm-hmm. If you have a teacher that you're not learning under, then maybe you can be placed in another room where you can learn. You need to speak out and let people know that so that they can help you. And that someone will help you. If you go to this desk, go to that desk, I tell you, I said, don't let that stop you. Someone is going to give you an answer. But if you go to 3 people, I don't want to 3 people, none of them. You're going to come to one of them that's going to smile and go, oh, wow. Mm-hmm. I know, I've been there and I've done that.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. Mm-hmm. Don't give up. And never let someone tell you what you can't do. One counselor told a girl she could not go to Harvard. Another counselor got on the phone that was the only did she go to Harvard. She got a scholarship, full scholarship, and she's now a medical doctor. That was her dream.
Oh, that's
She
wonderful.
lived 3 doors from me. As a little girl, I knew her from the time she was 3 weeks old up. And she's now a medical doctor. But she came to my desk, and she was sad, and she was like, oh, you know. And I said, what is it? I said, okay, what is it? I said, we'll get help in another. Mm-hmm. So I walked her and got her help. Montella Grimes, who is a counselor now at Victor Valley College. She helped me with this. Got the information, and that, but supposing she had gave up. That's but she stumbled to the right, maybe because she knew me all her life, 3 doors down. Mm-hmm. So she stumbled over and she was just, it can't be done. I said, never let someone tell you what cannot be done. Nothing beat a failure but a try.
That's true.
So if you never try, you can't fail at something you don't try. If you fail, just say I failed. Today.
That's wonderful.
Tomorrow, I'm going to get up and see, can I move that stump? I didn't get it today. I gave out energy, whatever. Or I wouldn't have had the money. I'll get another check next month. Maybe I have a check next week. Maybe I go back because I have a little more money. Mm-hmm. And you go back and you try again. And guess what? I know from personal experience, it works. Now, if all in all, you may say, well, this, maybe you're headed the wrong direction. Then don't be afraid to say, I'm headed the wrong direction. Don't be afraid to say, wow, well, I'm not accomplishing anything. This is not getting me any place. I think I'll turn around and go back and take this other road. Don't waste all your time on that road, just only so much. And if you're not, then take another road, another avenue. But never give up.
Never give up. Words of wisdom from Mattie Davis. Thank you so much, Mattie. Thank you for this wonderful interview. Mattie Davis, the president of the High Desert Black Heritage Committee. This is Trubian Village, signing off.